Hey everyone, we're back outside and something I have not done in quite a while, a car maintenance video. Now, I've shown you changing oil, I've shown you changing spark plugs. Now we're going to do something a little more simple, tire rotation. Now this does require a little bit of equipment, but in the long run it can save you quite a bit of money. So tire rotation is used to ensure even wear on all of your tires. If it's left in their positions for a long time, it can cause the tires to drift to one side if there's too much wear on one side of the tire. And so to even it out, we rotate the tires in a certain pattern, but we're going to do that today. It's pretty simple, but it does require quite a bit of safety precautions because of the potential dangers. So for this job, we are going to be needing, a ratchet socket that's equal to the size of your lug nut. We're going to need a torque wrench, a breaker bar, a jack, and jack stands. So the car, of course, is my Chevy Cruze. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the breaker bar first, along with the socket. Now, there is a note, there are some models that use a key socket, so if you have one of those, get that ready as well. So what we're going to start with, in order to take the tires into rotation, the first thing we got to do is break off the nuts first. So we're going to go to the breaker bar and our socket. So let me get that set up for you. Now it's important that you do this while the car is on the ground. This will not work if you have it already lifted, because it requires some friction to hold it, in this case the ground. So I'm gonna move this all the way around so you can see better. I think I'm gonna lower the camera. Just give me a second here. Yeah, you're gonna be down here for quite a while. All right. So what we're gonna do, so we're going to take our breaker bar. This is just a very long ratchet. Yeah, you need this to give you that torque you need to break those nuts open. In this case, I'm using a 1/2 inch breaker bar, using a 3/4 socket. So like I said, what we're going to do is that we're going to break these open, but do not remove the nuts just yet. So we're going to insert the socket and we're going to pull. Alright, and once again, do not remove the nut yet. That will be done later. We're going to do this to all 5 of the nuts. And it is easier if you put your breaker bar on the side where you can push down. Now in the case of the key nut, what we're going to do, we're going to keep our 3/4 socket on, but we're going to put the key socket right on top of it. And then we're going to insert that into the key nut. You may need to turn it just a little bit to make sure it lines up. And then got to make sure it's lined up. Yeah, this one can be a little more difficult to use than the others. And I think we got it loose. It's just to confirm. Yeah. All right, and we're gonna do that to the other 3 tires. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and we'll come back. Okay, all the nuts have been broken open. So now the next thing to do is to lift the car. Now, for this, we're gonna look underneath the car and you're gonna be looking for this railing here called the pinch weld. And so we're gonna be using that to lift this car. Now, if you don't have one of these, look for a solid piece of metal, like a one of those cross members, and just give it a test, lifting up with the jack. Now, if it starts buckling and making weird sounds, let it go and pick another place. But anything solid will work. But in this case, we're going to be using this pinch weld. So I'm going to back off here. I'm going to set you down over here. And I'm going to get the jack. Now, if you've got a car like mine, you want to use a low profile jack. This is a 3-ton jack, which should easily get my car off the ground. Now, and I would also recommend using one of these pucks to help protect the pinch weld. So what we're going to do is that we're going to line this up with the pinch weld. We're gonna close the valve, and then we're gonna start pumping up. And I'm just gonna make sure I'm lined up. Let's see, I need to go a little closer. There's good. Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. All right, now we're going to pump this up. Just want to make sure that there's enough clearance where the tires can move freely. One more pump here. Okay, now we're going to take a jack stand. And we're going to place it underneath that little indentation. And we're going to pump it up just one more time. Okay. All right. Then we're gonna put our safety pin on there. Yeah, when you get one of these jack stands, get one with these pins on there, that way you don't accidentally knock them off. Okay, then we're going to slowly lower it back down. All right, then we're going to move to the back and do the same thing. All right, put the safety pin on. And then once again, slowly lower the jack. Okay, and then we will do the same thing to the other side. All right, now all 4 tires are now off the ground. Now before you do anything else, give the car a shake just to make sure that those jack stands are steady. And once you do that, it's time to take the nuts off the tire. And you can use a tire iron for this, but I am going to use my power drill to do that, and I'm going to put it in the reverse setting. Now, if you plan to use any power tools, do not use an impact driver. The torque should only be used with the torque wrench. But since I'm just removing the nuts, this is going to be okay. And of course, don't forget, if you're having if you have a key nut on there, remember to use the socket for that. You can find where it is. And of course, make sure that your socket is on tight. And yeah, I'm spinning it the wrong direction. That's better. And another piece of advice is to get a small plate to keep your nuts at so that they don't move anywhere. We're going to go grab that. Now you preferably want to use one of these magnetic ones so that they will not go anywhere. Alright, so now we can now remove the tire. And to do this, pretty simple, just pull off. And now since my car is a front wheel drive car, the pattern calls for the front tires to be moved directly to the back. So the front left tire is now going to become the rear left tire. So I'm going to roll this down to the back. But of course, before I put this on, I got to remove this tire. So we're going to do that now. Of course, our key nut. Which for some reason I left on my plate. And do be careful when you remove these. Now, the rear tires are going to be, they're going to be crossed over toward the front. So not only does it move forward, but also goes across the car. So now the rear right tire becomes the front left tire. Or reverse that. The rear left tire becomes the front right tire. The other is true, but well, we'll get to that. But we're gonna roll this over to the front and to the right. Now we do the same thing with the front right tire. This one's coming off. And this tire is going to, the front right tire goes to the rear right. All right, and finally the rear right tire. All right, and this one crosses over. This will now become the front left tire. All right, this next part is going to require a little bit of effort. So now that we got the tires changed around, now we got to put them back on. So we're going to lift this up, and what really helps, we sit down along with it, and we're going to align the holes of the tire with the wheel hub. So I gotta move this around just a little bit. So like put your feet under there to help lift the tire. Spin and push it all the way in. So now we're gonna take the nuts that we've had earlier. We're gonna put them on. I'm going to set my power drill at the low setting just so that we don't over torque it. Right now our purpose is just to get the nuts on the tire. We're not going to tighten them just yet. We will take care of that after we put the car back down. And what will really help you is that you do this in a star pattern. This is to help ensure, just to ensure that pressure is put evenly along the hub. So you go 1, 2, 3. This should be 4 over here, and that's going to be with the key. Trying to find that slot there. There we go. And then 5. All right, so again, we have not torqued these down yet, but we will do that after we put it down. But right now we're going to do the same thing with the other 3 tires. So we're going to go to the one in the back. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our tire, all right, line it up with the hub, and lift up, and all 4 or all 5 should be in there. And same thing, we're going to put the nuts on. Once again, going in a star pattern. and now we move on to the other side, and I will go ahead and do that to save us some time, so I'll go ahead and get the other two on. Okay, all the tires have been put back on, so now the next thing to do is to take the jack stands off. So we have our jack already placed underneath. I just gotta pump it up just a little bit so we can remove those jack stands. Okay, so now we're gonna take the safety pin off, and we're gonna confirm that it is indeed off of the stand. Take it off. Same thing with the other side. We're gonna make sure that it is off the pinch weld. It is. All right, and then we're gonna slowly put it down. All right, and then we got to do the same thing to the other side. All right. So now the only thing left to do is to torque down each of the nuts. All right, so last thing to do, torque them down. Now this, you have to go to your owner's manual to figure out how much you need. On this car, we need 100 foot-pounds on each of the nuts. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go in a star pattern. So I'm gonna set my 1/2 inch torque wrench over to 100 foot-pounds. It takes quite a few turns to get there. And tighten that nut. All right, and once again, we're gonna go in a star pattern. But, of course, I do need to get my star nuts. I'm gonna go ahead and do the key nut first, since that one is the more difficult one. All right, so all right, I gotta make sure it is set to tighten. And we're gonna keep going until you hear a click. There it is. And as before, we're gonna go in a star pattern. There it is. Next one. And one more. Alright, so this wheel is torqued down. Do the same thing with the others. Over to this wheel now. Same thing, star pattern. And again, we're at 100 foot-pounds. one more. All right, this wheel's torqued down. Do the same thing to the other side and we'll be done. That's pretty much it. It is a bit of effort, but it can save you money in the long run if you invest in the right equipment. Yeah, the ones I got was a Pittsburgh 3-ton jack from Harbor Freight, and I got my 2-ton jack stands online. So, but as long as you got the safety pin on there to give you double the protection, you'll be just fine. So that is it, and we're all ready to go back on the road, and I will see you guys later.